Hey, Golden Eagles, it's time to talk. I'm your host, Adrian Bennett de Avila, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Marisa Martinez and Richard Tzul. For those who don't know, I'm the sports editor for the University Times and the station manager for Golden Eagle Radio. Marisa Martinez is the editor-in-chief for the University Times, and Richard Tzul is the news managing editor for the University Times. We're recording this episode on Wednesday, April 29th, around 5 p.m., and you can see our show when it airs on the University Times website at CSULA That's CSULA or by searching for Golden Eagle Radio on the Radio FX app. Time to Talk is a show that brings together Golden Eagle Radio and the University Times under one umbrella to discuss campus news and issues, campus sports, entertainment, and anything else that connects back to Cal State LA in some way. Coronavirus is still a part of all of our daily lives, and it affects us all. It has even affected the way we're doing this podcast. Normally we'd be recording in the GER studio, but now we have to do this podcast via Zoom, so we maintain social distancing. With all that out of the way, let's move into our first topic. Denim Day, which is a reference to an article that recently went up on our website. It was written by Megan Bravo, a staff reporter for us. Richard, why don't you, for those for our viewers who don't know, what is Denim Day?
Right, thanks for asking, Adrian. So yes, Megan Bravo wrote an op-ed piece for regarding Denim Day, which at the time of recording is today. So to explain the origins of Denim Day, what happened was in Italy, a 45-year-old man raped an 18-year-old woman. Now, this person was sent to jail. Eventually, the case went up to the Supreme Court, where his conviction was overturned. And the reason why was, well, rather the logic behind that court's ruling was that this survivor helped in removing her jeans when the incident occurred. And through that logic, the courts ruled that it was therefore consensual. Now, in protest, soon after that, a woman of Italian's legislative body turned up in their chambers in jeans, and that's what sort of was the first, not officially yet, but the first observation of Denim Day. And that's Denim Day is meant as a day to acknowledge cases of sexual assault, sexual misconduct, and as a way to support survivors.
Right. This is obviously a really serious topic. I mean, sexual assault is never okay by any standards. What do you guys think I realize this is a really sensitive issue and we want to be careful with how we approach this, but what do you guys think are still some of the persistent issues today? I mean, I believe the article mentions a culture of sexual violence in workplaces and stuff like that. I can't remember though. I haven't had a chance to look at the article yet. What do you guys think are some of the more persistent problems today with this sort of issue? Anyone can jump in.
Well, I liked in the article she mentioned, I think it was number 7, that it's not just a problem for women. It is also an issue that men have faced themselves as well. Denim Day is not specifically gendered in any way. It happens to any type of gender, any which way. So number 7 saying it's men, it goes along with every gender. But I think that's one of the most compelling things about Denim Day is that to remind our viewers and our readers that it's a day for you and your safety. It's not a day to specify to a specific gender. So I think that's one of the most compelling parts about Denim Day for me personally.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Marisa, because I think we often forget that, we often do gender rape and things not gender, engender. Is that the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure, but we often associate it with just women, but it does happen to people of other sexual orientations and other genders as well. So it's important to remember those things and that this is an issue that affects all of us, not just a few people.
Very true, yeah.
Yeah. Richard, anything else you wanted to add on this subject?
Yes, actually. So as Marisa was alluding to, part of this op-ed is a top 10 list on how to fight culture, a culture of sexual violence and how to recognize it. One that a particular point, number 5 on our list that I think was something to be very mindful of is that most victims of sexual misconduct know their perpetrator. They have some sort of relationship with them, whether it be a coworker, a friend, a family member, an associate, whatever it may be. So that's certainly something to always keep in mind, along with some other, what I thought was some crucial info to include. We very much should mention that Megan also spoke with a couple of people that are either volunteer work for or associated with an organization called Peace Over Violence. And this is a support group that offers resources, several resources for victims of sexual misconduct, sexual assault, harassment, etc. And I do recommend checking out the Megan's opinion piece, where there are links to where you can check out these sort of services and learn more as well, not just about Denim Day, but on how to get help and how to show support for others as well.
For sure. I just want to shout out the title of the article. It's an op-ed piece in the UT entitled 10 Things Society Should Know About Rape Culture and How Survivors Can Seek Help. And that was written by Megan Bravo, once again, a staff reporter for us. Yeah, we actually tried to get her on the show, but she was unavailable. So, a lot of our writers keep busy, which is a good segue, I think, into something that's super personal to all of us, the continued coverage that the UT is doing during the coronavirus. And, I think our reporters and our staff have done a great job of sticking with us and really putting out some great content and some important content in these sort of trying times. But it's actually become a little more difficult for us collectively as an it's so weird to call ourselves an organization, but we are, in a way, an organization, to continue this coverage. There's a lot of new challenges that we're facing. You guys are both editors in prominent positions at the UT. What do you think some of the more challenging things have been while we try to continue our coverage?
Currently, it's finals. Finals is unfortunately upon us, and that on top of the regular stresses of COVID-19, the pandemic, staying at home, being safe at home. For a lot of people, like we've said before, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not a place where they have, sanctuary to focus on studies. So our staff members as well have issues along the lines of that. So it's really hard to pull them away from their finals and say, you have to cover this because it's important to the student body. Because even if it is we've always stated from the get-go, at the beginning of every single semester, we've always stated that education comes before the UT, because we're first and foremost students. We just really enjoy our studies, which is journalism. So we really focus on the UT when we can, but at the same time, we have to get those grades and graduate as well so we can go out into the world and do what we love. So that, just all that said, it's been kind of hard to allow people to, it's been hard for our writers to focus on UT assignments right now when finals are literally just pounding on us. That's one of the things. But in addition to that, it's just there's so much going on. There's always so much going on at the school. I really feel for our staff. Our staff, they work really hard and they work very hard in their studies. A lot of them have, they want to graduate. So that's something that is not troubling, but we're working with to make sure that we at least have articles on a weekly basis, and then they can still do their work for our school, obviously. So
I want to hear Richard's thoughts, but before that, if you're just joining us, you are listening to Time to Talk, a show about Cal State LA news and issues. We were just discussing an op-ed piece done by Megan Bravo about Denim Day, and sort of behind the scenes look at our coverage at the University Times. I want to take another moment to thank everyone at the UT who's been working incredibly hard this entire semester to cover all the Cal State LA related issues, especially during these challenging times now that coronavirus is so prevalent. And yeah, we were just talking about how coverage has gotten a little more difficult recently. Richard, you're the news managing editor for us. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on some of the challenges we faced during this period.
Well, Adrian, I'm a pretty privileged person right now. I say that for a few reasons. One, because I can do my work remotely here. This is the only job I have as well. And I actually am not a student, which I think is something that has been alluded to in a prior episode. Now, I'm sure some of our listeners and viewers might be wondering, well, what are you doing here then? Well, to explain that, I actually, of course, I went to Cal State LA. I graduated this past fall, but as part of a special program that I am enrolled in, I get to stay on the UT as a student assistant, a staff member for this semester, just this semester only, however. And so that obviously I bring that up because that helps with me not having to deal with finals, such as the two of you or all our other staff members at the UT. So with that being said, especially since I was a student just like 5 minutes ago, of course, I'm very empathetic to what you and everyone else in our staff, as well as our fellow viewers and listeners, are experiencing, because it's finals as it is profoundly stressful. It's all the more stressful right now during a health and economic crisis. So I do see the struggles more so in the two of you and everyone else, our colleagues, say one of our staff reporters who has to still report to work at her coffee shop, and she's still doing some intense reporting on top of course, her lengthy classes, and even having frequent meetings with me and frequently texting, communicating with me. Shout out to Rosie Flores for being such a great support. And not just her, of course. We have all our other reporters who I'm pretty sure I give them a shout out a couple times in other episodes, but they really deserve it each time. And I just really want to emphasize here how proud I am of them and our editors as well, including the two of you, for just really stepping up to the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, and I think even though, it's been challenging at times, I know I've talked about this with you, Marisa, how we've actually improved in some areas like breaking news, for example, and how, difficult circumstances sometimes lead to awesome results because people have to really step up and, take things on. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, or like sort of how we've gotten better at our breaking news coverage?
Yeah. Well, it was definitely a goal of mine personally when I stepped into editor-in-chief. The editor-in-chief position was for us to perfect our breaking news coverage, or at least get better at it. We really dropped the ball a couple years, or it was actually about a year ago, when measles came out. When measles broke on campus, it was in the library, and we were about a week and a half possibly late for that story, and it was just I really wanted us to do better as journalists and as a newsroom. So we came up with a really good system where the editors basically, while everyone else, the staff writers, are working, and they're working on their deeper, more investigative pieces, the editors tend to take on the breaking stories. So if an email comes out campus wide, or if we find out about something early on, one of the editors literally just gets on it, writes as much as they can. If there's a student quote, if there is, it makes it so much better. We get that up online with the photo, and it's good to go. And we've gotten really good at it. So Richard, Josh, who is not here today, but all of our editors have really they've really stepped up to that plate, and it's shown greatly on our website. So a great job to our editors. They've been doing a really good job on it.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off that a little bit, I think Time to Talk is another example of something that got, pushed forward and really accelerated its sort of development process because of coronavirus. Because it was a show that I know I had talked with Marisa and some other people from Golden Eagle Radio and the UT about pushing, for a while, but we'd always sort of put it on the back burner because while there was less, while there was more things to cover day to day. It was tougher for us to find time to like push it to the forefront. But when coronavirus happened, it gave us an opportunity to provide a public service and put something on the air that people could listen to and know that there are people just like them who are going through similar things and who are feeling the same stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, sometimes there are blessings in disguise, and I know that's a huge cliche, obviously, but I think it's apt in this case because I think my hope for this, since I'm graduating this semester, is that this will continue, or this show will continue post my graduation, and that we can continue covering stories. Hopefully, when there's some return to normalcy, or even if there isn't a return to normalcy for a little while, we can keep this going and keep providing a voice for the campus community. So. Yeah, there's always positives and negatives to everything, I think. Yeah, does anyone else have anything to add on this topic? Oh, sorry, I just muted myself there. A little technical difficulty. Anything to add on sort of a behind the scenes look at how things have been going for us at the UT?
Well, infrastructurally wise or technically wise, like we do a lot of obviously we've just been doing a lot of telework, like Time to Talk's a good example. Like you're saying, this has literally come up because we had we were brainstorming ways of how we could have more tangible content for our readers during this time because we don't have the print anymore. So so we have that. We have the newsletter that Josh is now heading along with Fernanda, our La Nota editor, La Nota Dorada editor. And our interviews, they've all been over phone, over Zoom, and it's just the results are great. I couldn't be prouder of our staff and our editors, and we've been getting some really good guidance from our advisor and Professor Liz, and our business manager Albert Ramirez. So all in all, it was just been a really great experience learning how to do all of this, unfortunately the way that we have to. So yeah, I'm just really proud of our team for this whole semester, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout outs to everyone at the UT and Golden Eagle Radio for sticking with us and doing a really fantastic job. We all really appreciate it. I think we've brought this up in prior episodes, but I mean, like, yes, the editors, they're important positions and they matter, but we're nothing without everyone who works with us. And, like, it takes a village. It's not just a couple people. And man, I am just busting through the cliches in this episode. I'm sorry, guys, but, but sometimes you just got to do it. If you're just joining us, welcome. This is Time to Talk, the first ever Golden Eagle Media podcast that brings together the University Times and Golden Eagle Radio to address campus topics and issues. I'm Adrian Bennett de Avila, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Marisa Vasquez and Richard Tzul. We were just discussing something close to all of us at the UT, some of the challenges we were having with our ongoing coverage. However, I want to transition us now into the third topic of the show, some potential decisions being made around CAPS at Cal State LA. Marisa, the last time I spoke with you about this, my understanding was that the ASI might support a resolution to increase the number of counselors and decrease the number of workshops. For those of you who don't know, CAPS is Counseling and Psychological Services at Cal State LA. Marisa, where are we now on CAPS and sort of the voting that's been going on?
So, yeah, ASI just did, they did approve it on Thursday during their board meeting. It was unanimous. Make sure I have my notes here. The resolution on CAPS, transparency and service standards at California State University, Los Angeles. Basically what they're trying to do, for one of the biggest parts of it that they're trying to do is increase the amount of counselors that they have there so that the ratio of students to counselors is 1 to 1,500. And that's one of the things they're really pushing for. On top of that, so after it got unanimously passed by ASI, it's going to go to the Academic Senate meeting, which have been postponed, I believe, until next semester. They are not holding Academic Senate meetings currently right now, but the CSULA Social Justice Caucus had this to say about it. The CAPS resolution makes a recommendation for a corrective action plan to be drafted by Dr. Jennifer Miller, Dean of Students, which addresses all of these issues outlined within the resolution by September 1st, 2020. The resolution also recommends that all corrective action plans to be implemented by February 1st, 2021. So they hope to have all this fixed by a year from now, for the most part. So this time next year, there might be some changes, big changes that happen at CAPS. So we'll just have to wait to see what the decision is at the Academic Senate meeting next fall, probably.
Yeah, it does feel like a lot of things are put on hold right now. Is there any indication what some of the opinions are from students on campus about any of the potential changes, or is that sort of still up in the air?
Are you meaning by like how they feel about the resolution, if they're behind it or not, or?
Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of social justice accounts on our, or social justice organizations on our campus have backed this. I know social justice, I know Golden Eagle Truth. I believe that's the account name. Is that the account name? That is the account name.
Is it Cal State LA Truth? Is that it?
Is Golden Eagle? Isn't it Golden Eagle Truth?
I'll look it up right now.
I'll get it up to you. There are a lot of social justice groups that have backed it, that are the orgs from our campus. So it is fairly backed by the majority of orgs on our campus, but individually from students, I'm not 100% sure if they all know about what's going on or if they understand enough to back it or not. I do know that CAPS is a service at Cal State LA that affects every student. At least every student at this campus knows somebody who uses CAPS on a regular basis. So it's a really important issue that we'll just have to see if it ends up going through next semester.
Yeah, we'll be sure here at the UT. We'll be sure to keep our eye on this issue as it evolves. Yeah, couldn't find anything thus far in a quick Google search on Cal State. I think it's Cal State LA Truth, but I don't want to get that wrong, so don't quote me on that, which is ironic coming from a journalism major.
I was right. It was Golden Eagle Justice. I apologize for not getting that right the first time. I was technically right the first time, but it is Golden Eagle Justice. I just wanted to double check. Okay.
Okay, right on. Richard, any thoughts on the proposed changes to CAPS?
I can't speak on it at the same length Marisa did, who reported on it. Kudos to her for bringing it up, though. What I can say is that CAPS, I did edit a piece much early in the semester, which was published right before our school shifted to virtual classes online, while we were still going on campus, that is. And I learned that CAPS is very much a very crucial service on our campus that many students are very reliant on, and clearly that many feel very strongly about. So, but as Marisa was saying, well, we're going to have to wait and see what kind of developments are going to occur as virtually every aspect of our lives is put on hold at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. We still have a little bit of time here, guys. So I want to maybe ask, in a lot of my Zoom classes recently, I've been noticing a lot of students feeling really down and sort of a little defeated. And, some people are going through a little bit of depression and anxiety right now, which is, I think, why the CAPS issue is so prevalent, to tie that back to our last topic. But is there anything you would want to say to those students, or maybe give some advice for anyone who's maybe struggling still a little bit right now, especially with finals? It's so stressful. Like, any tips to stay sort of grounded, so to speak?
I know Marisa was earlier saying that our education is first. I'm going to have to respectfully disagree. It's actually our health that is first. And while, of course, our education is very important, it's most important to, of course, take care of our health, particularly now when a health crisis of all times. Now, obviously, that's easier said than done. My heart goes out to everyone that may struggle, say, with underlying health conditions. Maybe they have an extremely packed schedule, and it's that much harder to take the time to get some proper sleep, to cook for yourself, or whatever it may be. So I'm very much aware it's easier said than done, but I guess when it comes down to it, my biggest advice is just try your best to, if you're able to make the time for yourself to give yourself some care, whatever it may be, whether making sure you get a proper good night's rest, whether it's you spend time socializing with your family, those who you live with, or if you don't live with them, give a call to them, or any loved ones in your life. Its point is just please try to practice your health, and it's okay to be a little selfish, especially right now.
Yeah, I think that's sound advice. Marisa, anything you'd want to say to anyone who's maybe going through some of that stuff right now?
I can definitely relate to if anyone's listening to this and they're having a frustrating semester or difficult couple of weeks. I completely relate to you. Obviously, every situation's different, but like it's. I agree with Richard in saying that like whatever you need to do to get yourself into a healthy state, please do so, mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever you need to do to make sure that you're okay to take on your studies. That is very important. I've definitely had to take a step back and kind of prioritize what needs to happen first for me personally, and that was healing in a lot of ways. Just if you need a second for yourself, there's no shame in it. There's no shame in making sure that you're okay. Have a really good rest of the semester, please. Also, I'd like to make a correction. It was Cal State LA Truth. Golden Eagle Justice and Cal State LA Truth are two very different organizations, and I think I got them a little mixed up, so my apologies again on that too. Cal State LA Truth is the one that did back it on their I believe it was their Insta story on Instagram. So my bad about that.
Well, no, I'm glad we got that corrected now. I want to kind of.
God.
It's okay. I want to concur with what both you guys have said. I think obviously your own individual health is important. And for me, I would say also, try to stay connected any way you can with the people that you really care about and want to spend time with. I know some of the friends I've made throughout the course of my time here, I've been, interacting with them, like people I've dormed with, and like just been on like Zoom chats or whatever, just saying hi and what's up and how's everyone doing. I think that's really helpful, and it's good to know that we're not alone in this, because I think it can sort of feel it that way sometimes when we're all sort of stuck in our little bubbles. And just, it's really tough, obviously, but try to stay as positive as you can. I know that's obviously way easier said than done, and I'm sure people are going through a lot. So I'm not trying to like diminish the difficulty of that. I'm just saying like it is helpful to try to sort of maintain a positive mindset when we can. And we're about to run out of time here. So I also want to say, as of this recording, it's my mom's birthday. So shout out to my mom.
Happy birthday, Adrian's mom. What's your mom's name?
Technically it's Elizabeth, but she goes by Lisa.
Oh, happy birthday, Lisa.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So shout out to my mom. I'm sure she'll never see this, but it's fine. Anyway.
Send her the link.
I'll be sure to send her the link. All right. Anyway, thank you for listening, Golden Eagles. This has been Time to Talk, the show that deals with Cal State LA campus issues. I want to thank my illustrious co-hosts, Marisa Martinez and Richard Tzul, for being with me here today. For the University Times and Golden Eagle Radio, I'm Adrian Bennett de Avila. As always, stay safe, everyone.